PowerBliss News, we are at the Black Public Relations Society of Los Angeles, honoring the legendary Kenneth Reynolds for his excellence in PR.
Friend Kenneth R. Reynolds. I affectionately refer to Ken as the legendary Ken Reynolds. I actually do. When I call him and he answers the phone, I say, I'm calling to speak to the legendary Ken Reynolds. And his response is always the same. This is the legendary Ken. It's our kind of an affectionate, we joke back and forth about it, but the more I think about his impact on the industry and what he's done, I think the term legendary is not really in jest, it's actually much more apropos. To say that Kenneth is a publicist is an understatement. I think Kenneth wears a lot of titles. He's been a publicist, he's been a casting director, he's been a producer, he's been an associate producer, he has been an event coordinator, and all the other terms that representatives that I've heard about in the 25 years I've been in this town. According to me, he's been a manager, he's been an agent. But I think the most important title for me is Kenneth is an industry survivor. And as I look around this room, there are a lot of us here who are industry survivors, and what that means is you have been more self-aware than self-absorbed. You understand how fickle and how cyclical this industry is, and it changes. The ebbs and flows. The things that are important and relevant and hot today may not be tomorrow. And for those of you who've stood the test of time, like Ken, you understand that what you have and what you've been able to do to survive in this industry for decades, it's something that can't be taught. It's who you are. It's innate in who you are. And even if you were in another industry, you would still flourish in the same way. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of about my friend Ken Reynolds. Now I'm going to throw a few names at you. Some of them you might know. His PR legacy includes Aretha Franklin, Cheryl Lynn, Roy Ayers, Taj Mahal, Donna Summer, Barry White, Kool and the Gang, Cameo, Stephanie Mills, three young ladies, Sarah Dash, Nona Hendrix, and Patti LaBelle. And now that's just when he was wearing his PR hat. He was also very instrumental and on the ground floor of some careers like Cheryl Lynn, like Whitney Houston. And Kenneth still is, the great thing about it is, I'm not talking about Ken in past tense. He is still, not only has he survived, he is still thriving. He's doing what he loved to do. I could go on, I don't think we have enough time for me to run the list. What I've said to Ken, what I've said to him many times is, I'm going to stop introducing you to people in this industry because you know them all. But the one thing I do want to note to you all is, aside from being a publicist, is that he has also been responsible for creating and implementing media awareness for a variety of organizations, such as the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund, Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyers Association, the United Negro College Fund. There are so many other people here, Anna Marie Horsford, who's here, Jack A., all our friends, many individuals whose careers have been impacted by his work. So I would like for you guys to please welcome, and I'm honored to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to my friend, the legendary Kenneth Reynolds.
I don't know if I should be the person to come up after that, because I don't know who he was talking about. First of all, I'd like to thank Sean Turner and the Black Public Relations Society for this acknowledgement. I'd like to also acknowledge the other two honorees. I'd also like to extend our thanks to Phyllis Banks, who's not here. She had a death in her family, and she wasn't able to be with us. She's at home in Alabama. And of course, I have to thank my friend Rocky Carroll. He said all those things about me, but most importantly, he is my friend. He is my very dear friend. When Sean told us that we had 5 minutes to talk, I told her that I could not talk for 5 minutes. I just don't have that much to say. And then I thought about it. I did an interview at Santa Monica College. They're doing an oral perspective on me, and they came to interview. And the interviewer asked me one question, and I spoke for 2.5 hours. With a former client, she was doing an R&B documentary. He interviewed me. He asked me one question. I spoke for 1.5 hours. So to spare you all this thing that I have for rambling and losing track of my stories and going off on one story, jumping to another story, I prepared something very simple and very succinctly that I'd really like to share, so I don't take up too much of your time. And I think this kind of expresses what I have to feel. Receiving this Pat Tobin Award has a very special meaning for me. When I first came to Los Angeles 20 years ago, I met this amazing woman called Pat Tobin. She reached out to me, and she incorporated me not only into her life, but into her business. She, as someone said earlier, she was constantly putting people together. Come on, do you know so-and-so? You got to meet so-and-so. You got to go to this place. I got to hook you up with this person. Coming from New York, coming from the record business, this was some sort of camaraderie that I had never, ever experienced before. She immediately became one of my best friends. Before I knew Pat, I thought I knew a lot about giving and sharing. I always considered myself a giving and sharing person. But upon knowing Pat, I recalled something my grandmother said. What you know when you fill a thimble. This woman expressed such joy and care for so many people. It was just amazing. It was overpowering. There was a time when I was going through some health challenges of my own, and just like in business, in my personal life, Pat was there. I will never forget the many afternoons and evenings I bribed her into bringing me Newports and Pepsi by cooking her pork chops and oxtails. And we would spend hours and hours sitting on my veranda talking about life and this business, which is where we coined our personal phrase, GGMFH. I know. I've spent nearly 30 years in this business, and like many of us, I got my first PR job because I was black. This particular firm was looking for a black publicist. I had just come off the road with Peter Gabriel and Nona Hendricks from a European tour. And one of the early publicists in this business, Irene Gandy, I called her and told her I was looking for a job. And she said, this guy is looking for a black publicist, call him. I said, Irene, I've never been a publicist before. She says, you're black, you have to Thank you. I was young and unemployed, mostly unemployed and young. So I quickly went to the interview. But before I did that, I called a friend who was a publicist, and I asked her, what does a publicist do? I said, I have an interview. And she taught me words like pitch, angle, long lead time, all the buzzwords I needed to go and fake my way through this interview. Well, I did a pretty good job because I got the job, and I immediately fell in love with what I was doing. I had the opportunity to develop my own gift of gab. There were so few black publicists at this time, and only 1 or 2 males. I grasped the job quickly, and I designed my own style of work ethics. Being in public relations, I have come to know people very well. I have worked with some amazing artists, as Rocky mentioned. He mentioned them all: Kool and the Gang, Donna Summer, Roy Ayers, Four Tops, Whitney, Aretha, Sherlyn, James Brown, Barry White, and the list goes on and on and on. I've made some wonderful friends along the way, and I see many of them in this room tonight. There's far too many to mention, but 3 of them are going to get mad at me because I have to tell you that I have 3 friends in this room, and our combined friendship is over 100 years. Hannah Maria, Patty Winston, and
short
Carol
period
Wheeler.
of time.
So I just want my friendship with them collectively is over 100 years.
Old women.
Everybody should be so lucky. We publicists of color are in a much stronger and united place today because of Pat's foresight in creating an organization such as the Black Public Relations Society. And I'm just going to leave you with a few words of the late Curtis Mayfield. We people who are darker than blue, are we going to sit around and let what others say about us come true?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ken Reynolds.
Yeah.